Well, good morning. Again, 444. My purpose for 444 instead of 555 is to ground certain things on earth. It's really important that we ground some of the ideas that I'm sharing. The title for this talk for today, which is for actually the 14th of August, 2014, is Religious and Other Freedoms plus Limited Government. I have participated in services, ceremonies of all 5 major religions, world religions, plus Native American. I find something beneficial and instructive in all of them. I support freedom of religion and all other human rights. This includes speech, press, assembly, redress of grievances, basic human needs without cost, education, travel, ability to contract, and more. To me, human rights trump everything else. Perhaps the most important human right, one that I did not put in that initial list, is the right and responsibility to limit government or societal structure. Governments must be led, not ruled. We need leaders, not rulers. Governments must be responsible to the people, not the other way around. People have the right, individually and collectively, to make our own choices, to learn our own lessons, and to choose our religion, ideology, guiding principle. We have the right to change our mind, open our heart, and grow. We do not have a right, no one does, to harm others or violate the free will of anyone. Somehow, we must find a way to enforce that against those who violate it. Let me begin by saying, in relationship to John Lash and Gnosticism, there's a basic principle of Gnosticism that John Lash may himself not even be a proponent of. But Gnosticism basically starts with the premise that physical is evil and spiritual is good. Dark is bad, light is good. I reject that. All life, all creation is good. Physical and spiritual. All dimensions are good. Everything is good. Everything is useful. Everything has a purpose and a meaning. But there are rights and there are limits. And I was addressing in yesterday's video only the fact that he said that there was an Archon contract of sorts with the 3 Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and that they were Archon guided. And there's evidence that all of them have been corrupted, including ones that are not named, including Hindu and Buddhism. Everything on earth has been corrupted by a structure, a societal structure that is damaging to life itself. To everything on the planet is being damaged by the current system that we've known and grown up with. Everything. There's nothing that remains untouched. Nothing. Now, back earlier the part of this year, Mr. Sino, Mr. Sugi, of the Kingdom of God, Sky, Earth, Swiss Indo, appointed me as advisor to the World Council. Interesting. He did that in his capacity as King of Kings. Now, some people don't like that he took that title, King of Kings, and applied it to himself. But it is a spiritual title. King of Kings means, from a spiritual perspective, I'm leading in a different direction. We address that as a ruler, and if his attitude, and I don't believe it is, if his attitude was to rule the world, well, then that's a wrong attitude. That's a wrong attitude in any council of elders, dragons or otherwise, who think that they have the right to rule the world and to dictate to people what privileges they're allowed to have. The idea that our rights are demoted to principles is insane. It is unsustainable, and human race is waking up, not as fast as I'd like perhaps, but it is waking up, and more people around the globe, and we're circling the globe with people who are awake and alert and aware of basic rights. We have some common sense to tell the people that run governments, stop interfering in our lives. Now, part of this was precipitated by a conversation I had yesterday with the ambassador regarding internet access in China. Now, in China, they have limited internet access. You're not allowed, for example, to normally to access Western internet. They have their own internet in Chinese, and it's their own internet. But they don't want the Chinese people to be exposed to Western ideas because they consider them degenerative or corruptive. The government does not have the right to protect people from ideas that contradict their own ideas, that is, the ideas of those who want to rule the people. Ruling the people is wrong. Hear me plainly. I don't care if you're a president, a prime minister, a king, a sultan, or any other monarch or any other claimed authority, you do not have the right to rule and dictate to anyone else what they can and can't do as human beings. We are born with rights. They are unalienable, unalienable. They are natural rights. They are birth rights because we're human. And it's important that every human being get that driven home with authority. You and I do not have the right to tell anyone else what they can and cannot do, other than they cannot violate the free will of anyone else, other than they cannot cause harm or loss on purpose to anyone else. Now, who violates human rights the most on our planet? If not governments themselves, if not corporations posing as governments, if not the financial tyranny system that thinks it has the right to buy rulers. Nobody has that right. That right has been usurped, it has been taken, and it's time that we as people take it back. If I'm going to be an advisor to world councils and to world leaders, listen to me then. I don't think there was a mistake in appointing me as an advisor. I'm not trying to rule anything. I'm trying to talk common sense to you. Do you have a mind that can accept common sense? Do you have a mind that can listen? Or are you still so entrapped in your fear of losing control that you shut off everything else? And as I said yesterday, you're so full of shit that you've stopped your own anus. Ideas are made to flow. Energy is made to flow. And we must allow the flow of energy if we are all going to prosper. If we're going to live in a sustainable world, on a sustainable planet, on a beautiful planet. It is a beautiful planet. But we have corrupted it with a false idea of governance, with a false idea of religion that tries to impose itself on other people and say we're the only ones that are right. That is insane, as I said in yesterday's video. It is insane to think that my way is the only way, that I have all the answers. I don't, but I have some wisdom. I have some wisdom. That's why I think I fit in the role of an advisor to the World Council, to world leadership. I should be addressing the United Nations. I should be addressing the Council on Foreign Relations. I should be addressing the parliaments and congresses around the world. because governments have gotten out of control, because people do not understand, people in government do not understand their responsibility as protectors of human rights. Instead, they have made themselves violators of human rights. And because they are violators, they are accountable to the people and to higher intelligence, higher authority, higher wisdom, higher power. They are responsible and accountable for their actions and their crimes. And it is a crime when anyone violates the free will and the natural rights of anyone else to express, to move about, to gain information. You cannot limit that right. If you do so, you are violating divine law, cosmic law. And it's time that the playing field gets leveled. It's time that this bullshit of controlling others stops. It's time that it comes to an end. It's time that the people stand up and say enough, enough, and to go after those who insist in the continuation of the violations. That must be brought to a halt in 2014. We do not have years to go or decades to go in which to accomplish this. The message needs to go out now. And I ordered my own shofar yesterday, and I'll have it by the end of the week. Well, I'm going to start blowing the shofar against all forms of tyranny, financial tyranny or any tyranny that exercises or claims a right to violate and to coerce and to manipulate and to extort wealth from anyone. All of these mechanisms that are present in our world are the beast, and we are overcoming them with truth, with the word of truth, with the voice of the dragon that is enlightened. We don't need dark dragons. We need enlightened dragons. We need to redeem the archons, the reptilians, the demons. We need to redeem the jinn and those that have violated humanity for eons, for millennia, for centuries, for decades into our present time frame. We need to bring redemption to all of those who have masqueraded as leaders but have acted as rulers. The time of hierarchical rulership is over. It's coming to an end as quickly as we can end it, as quickly as we can come to our senses. Nobody has the right to tell anybody else what to do, with the exception of you must tell people to respect the rights of others. That is fundamental, that is basic, that is foundational, that is essential. In every way, that is where we need to be. We cannot have peace in the world until there is justice. And we cannot have justice until we tell the truth. And we cannot tell the truth if we are limited in any way from speaking our minds, from following our own hearts and our own guidance, from exercising our own religious freedom, whether it's to worship a god or not. And how, it doesn't matter. As I said, I have benefited and been instructed from every form of exposure that I've had to other religions. Every form. Every one of them has something good to offer. Every one of them. But every one of them, when it becomes an institution, when it becomes an organized religion, it gets distorted and perverted from its intended goal of creating love and of awakening the human soul and the human being living in a physical body to evolve into a higher level of being, a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of awareness. This is what we are at the threshold of right now in 2014. We've been working at this for over 3 years, since 2011. We've been working on bringing up the underworld so that you can see it. When I say we, I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, sky, earth. that Mr. Sugi, Mr. Sino, that's his vision, and I support his vision. He may have made mistakes. I've made mistakes. The ambassador's made mistakes. All of us have made mistakes. We need to own our mistakes, tell the truth about them, and move on to a higher vision, a higher calling. The King of Kings is the supreme intelligence, the supreme creator of all that is. That's the King of Kings. We are kings. We are queens. We, the people, individually and collectively, are the sovereigns. And we can exercise our sovereignty when we grow up, when we open our minds and open our hearts and open our lives to truth and stop running away from the truth. The ego and rulers that try to dominate others always run from truth. Well, the emperor has no clothes. He's naked just like you and just like me. When we are born, he comes in naked, and when he dies, he will ultimately take nothing with him except the character that has been formed and the lessons that have been learned. We never lose those. And it's time that our consciousness comes to the place where we can embrace all that we've ever experienced on our soul's journey, in many lifetimes, in many bodies, in many expressions, perhaps on many planets. And we start utilizing the wisdom that we've gained and reactivating our DNA and healing our minds and our bodies and our spirits and our souls, healing the divine masculine and the divine feminine, healing so that we can have healthy relationships, co-creative relationships that are transformative in nature and transform us from the inside out so that the inside and the outside become one. It's time that we exercise our rights, claim our freedom to do so, and to limit those who claim to serve in governments. Governments must serve the people and must answer to the people, and I don't care if that's in China or Russia or the United States or Great Britain or the European Union or on Africa or Australia or anywhere on the planet or off the planet. All sentient beings have rights by birth, by being, by simply existing. We have the right to self-expression. We have the right to self-determination, but we do not have the right to hurt or command anyone else. No one has authority over anyone else except over those who violate the natural rights of others. I want you to hear that. And if there's any way that I could drive it into your consciousness, I would do so, because it is foundational truth. Thank you for listening. Namaste.